G'day chaps, it's I, Clownpuncher139. Ghostbusters is a pretty great movie. So it's kinda weird that Nintendo gave us a great Ghostbusting game nearly a decade before the original property did, and with Luigi of all characters. I'm of course referring to the absolutely incredible Luigi's Mansion series. These games are fantastic and a must-play for gamers around the world. In this series, you take control of Luigi as he attempts to face his fears and bust ghosts in increasingly complex haunted mansions. But I'm not really here to talk about Luigi. Yeah, even in a video about his own series, I'm not actually talking about him. Sorry, Luigi, maybe next time? Who I'm actually here to talk about is the incredible villain of this series, and the strangely compelling arc he goes through across the 3 games. That's right, I'm talking about the one, the only, King Boo. Now I bet many of you are ridiculously confused at this statement. A Mario villain having a compelling arc outside of an RPG? It sounds impossible, but yes. A series about using a vacuum cleaner to capture ghosts and solve puzzles has one of the most interesting and compelling villains in gaming. Hey, wanna know how I know I'm not making this up? Because I wrote a 6-page essay about this 2 years ago. I think I got an A-. So, I'm going to be plagiarizing some of that for this video and break down King Boo's one amazing scene. But first, we must start with some good old-fashioned backstory. King Boo first appeared in Luigi's Mansion on the Nintendo GameCube. In that game, he tricked the Mario brothers into a haunted mansion by saying Luigi won it in a contest he never actually entered. Mario gets to the mansion first, and Luigi arrives hours later to find his brother missing and the advertisement very much lying to him. King Boo captured Mario and trapped him in a painting, locking himself away in the basement to avoid capture. This was all a big revenge scheme against Mario, revenge for tormenting his people over the years, and this harkens all the way back to Super Mario World and Mario 64. The ghost houses in Big Boo's Haunt are refuges for Boos across the Mushroom Kingdom and Dinosaur Land, and Mario just up and invades them, terrifying their residents and probably causing their second death if he gets a superstar. Simply put, King Boo is pissed, and understandably so. If some terrifying guy constantly invaded your final resting place, you'd be pretty pissed too. So King Boo goes ahead and does the only logical thing to get his revenge: trap him in a painting for all eternity. He doesn't kill him, causing his permanent game over. He traps and taunts him, listening to his screams from behind the painting. He gets more joy out of it that way. And what's interesting here is that King Boo doesn't really care about Luigi. He was an afterthought in the plan because Luigi hasn't caused him as many problems as Mario. King Boo almost certainly handled Mario himself when he arrived at the mansion, then went into hiding with the rest of the Boos to later be released by Luigi. He just left a few of the most basic ghosts in the mansion to deal with him. And really, the only reason Luigi escaped was because of Professor Egad and the Poltergust 3000. But once Luigi straps that Poltergust on his back, things get interesting to say the least. He's able to fight back and defeat all the ghosts in the mansion. He captures all the underling Boos and finally makes his way to the king. And King Boo has a few choice words for Luigi. He says that he doesn't fear Luigi, only the infernal poltergust he carries on his back, which might give us a little insight to the king. Does this mean he was afraid of Mario? Or is it just a way to show he still has power over the situation? He goes on to stake his claim. He is the king of the Boos, and he shall fear no mere house-cleaning device. This is a decently interesting scene for King Boo. It shows that despite his immense power, being able to capture Mario after all, he still has weakness. He's afraid of the poltergust, because he knows it's the one thing that could destroy him. Even still, he overcomes this fear of a mere vacuum cleaner and fights Luigi head-on. But in the end, despite his immense power and overcoming his fear, he loses. Luigi conquers him and is able to free his brother. But what's interesting is that this doesn't start the dynamic I mentioned earlier. And by the time we get to Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, we don't really see the interesting King Boo I've been building up. Despite being trapped in Egad's garage for the better part of a decade, he doesn't hold a massive grudge against Luigi. He definitely sees Luigi as a rival at this point, but he isn't the reason King Boo's plan goes into effect. Dark Moon's plan is more of a plan against Mario and Egad than anyone else. Dark Moon begins with the aforementioned Egad studying the ghosts of Evershade Valley, a place where ghosts are non-hostile because of the titular pacification device, the Dark Moon. That is until King Boo flies into the valley and shatters the Dark Moon with powerful energy from his crown. This causes the ghosts to revert to their natural aggressive state and attack Egad, forcing him to flee the gloomy manor to his bunker. The valley becomes shrouded in a thick purple fog, and the ghosts now run rampant. I believe King Boo's plan in this scenario was to essentially finish off Egad right then and there. He definitely didn't intend for him to escape, let alone grab a piece of the Dark Moon on his way out. I think he wanted to finish the old kook there so that he couldn't call someone else, i.e. Luigi, in to do the work for him like last time. Rather than deliberately try to end Luigi like you'd expect, King Boo actually plays it really smart and tries to keep Luigi out of the action to begin with. He knows that Luigi stopped him once, so calling him back is just asking to be stopped again. Especially since, before this all happened, he was able to capture Mario again and trap him in another frame. Seeing as Mario was the only reason Luigi persevered in the first game, knowing his brother was captured again would have kept him going in this game too. By the time Luigi reaches the treacherous mansion, he and Egad still don't know who's behind this night's events. It isn't until they examine the train diorama image that they discover Mario was even captured, let alone that King Boo was the one behind it. Before this moment, their only goal was to restore the Dark Moon. Now it's to actually stop King Boo, whose plan is a little flimsy if I'm being honest. He planned to use the ghosts of Evershade to cross the mortal plane with the spectral world, creating an imbalance of ghostly energy and causing King Boo to be the ruler of the two worlds. It's definitely not as interesting as the pure revenge of the first game, but I guess he was gonna hang the Mario Bros in his throne room, so there's that. When Luigi successfully defeats the final possessor, King Boo uses his magic to take over the Pixelator, sending Luigi into his own dimension. Instead of fighting him head-on right away, he actually decides to toy with his prey and taunt him. He creates a bunch of windows of light and uses his silhouette to scare Luigi to the floor, then shows him the image of his brother for a split second before jump scare. Even though Luigi has essentially thwarted his plan already by closing the portal to the spectral world, he doesn't miss an opportunity to have some fun. And this carries on throughout the rest of the fight. He laughs when Luigi gets hit and doesn't miss his chance to taunt Luigi when he escapes from the poltergust. But that doesn't mean he isn't being threatening. I mean, he literally starts the fight by saying he's painting the town red. This is a Mario game, folks. But unfortunately, that's it for King Boo in Dark Moon. It seems to me like King Boo didn't consider Luigi a true rival in this game. He still goes after Mario, trapping him in a painting again as a form of revenge, not even wanting Luigi to be involved in the first place. He goes after Egad knowing he was the brains behind Luigi defeating him in the first game. He holds a grudge against the green guy, but it still isn't as heavy as with Mario. He only goes after Luigi when his plan is actually thwarted, and even then, he doesn't really hate Luigi at this point. This will change in Luigi's Mansion 3. Luigi's Mansion 3 is by far King Boo's most impressive appearance, and where the incredible dynamic of King Boo versus Luigi truly starts. This time, things are really personal. Again, before this, King Boo never really cared about Luigi. He was just an accessory to Mario in Luigi's Mansion 1 and was an afterthought in Dark Moon, only attempting to end him after Luigi already thwarted his plans. But for Luigi's Mansion 3, King Boo specifically enacts his plan to get Luigi. He doesn't care about conquering the world or getting revenge on Mario anymore. Mario may have caused problems for his people, but Luigi has been a pain in his side twice now, and King Boo is pissed. After being rescued from his painting by Helen Gravely, a secret admirer and surprisingly avid planner, he enacts his long-awaited revenge. Helen calls the crew to the Last Resort Hotel, a seemingly luxurious hotel in the middle of nowhere for a vacation of a lifetime. Well, after checking in and finding their rooms, Luigi takes a well-deserved nap after a long road trip of more napping. But he's awoken in the middle of the night by a horrified shriek from Princess Peach. His room is no longer as bright and lively as when he entered, and the hallways seem to be draining of life as well. All the rooms are empty, and the elevator is no longer operational. Until it opens, and Helen makes her reappearance. She gushes over her biggest crush, and the king finally makes his appearance. King Boo looks even more menacing than usual in HD, and it just adds to this great first appearance. While Luigi was napping, he trapped all his friends in frames and saved a special one just for him. Before he can trap Luigi forever though, Luigi makes a mad dash for the end of the hallway. What I especially love about this scene are King Boo's surprisingly vast facial expressions. His brow furrows when he laughs, he frowns as he monologues, and he full-on scowls as he chases Luigi down the corridor. The corridor chase is one of the best scenes in this game, and it shows just how pissed King Boo is at this point. Look at this scowl as he chases Luigi and violently smashes stuff out of his way. He is ready to murder this green plumber, and his plan nearly works. He uses spirit orbs to remove all the doors in the hallway so Luigi has nowhere to run. And he would have been successful if he had gotten the laundry chute. But he didn't, and Luigi was able to temporarily escape all the way to the bottom of the hotel. Seriously, I cannot understate how much I love this hallway chase. It's one thing that it builds suspense and gets the player's blood pumping, but it's also a great representation of the dynamic these characters have built up. Despite conquering him twice now, Luigi is still absolutely terrified of King Boo. And having been conquered twice over, King Boo absolutely hates Luigi, and specifically went through with this plan to get back at him. Mario may have been his initial target in both of the previous games, but now it's the little brother. I love how King Boo takes away any hope Luigi may have had before the hallway chase by showing him his brother and all his other friends trapped in the frames. It just shows how relentless he is in breaking Luigi. Which I guess brings up an interesting point about Luigi himself. Despite saving his brother twice now from King Boo's clutches, he still thinks he's the second banana. Despite all he's been able to conquer over the years, from this series to the RPGs, he's still terrified without Mario by his side. He's berated by just about everyone but his brother, and his low self-esteem just makes him believe it. His brother is the only one who's always there for him. But he's also the hero of the Mushroom Kingdom. Mario faces problems head-on while Luigi cowers in a corner. It isn't until games like Dream Team and Luigi's Mansion that Luigi gets to show just how strong and important he is. And he doesn't just show off to everyone else, he shows himself too. And this is especially prevalent in Luigi's Mansion 3. More on this later. When Luigi reaches about 2/3 of the way up the hotel, we get a little cutscene showing Helen and King Boo, who is seriously pissed at how bad she's failing him. He's tired of her constant excuses and is ready to take matters into his own hands. He takes a look at the two remaining paintings, Mario and Peach, and takes one for himself to the roof of the hotel. This will be important later. Luigi keeps fighting his way to the top of the hotel until he reaches the 15th floor. He fights more ghosts and gathers keys to eventually fight the one who started all this, Helen Gravely. He's able to defeat her and free the painting King Boo left behind. And strangely, it's Mario. You'd think after all the trouble he went through in the other two games that King Boo would have taken Mario's painting for himself. But no, he took Peach. And it's actually a brilliant psychological manipulation on the king's part. Luigi freeing Mario is just as emotional as ever, as the brothers hug and probably shed a few tears after the night they've been through. And just listen to Luigi's voice.
Way to
Mario.
go, Luigi!
Hey,
Oh.
oh yeah!
He's so happy to see his brother safe and sound, but he also knows exactly where they are and that they need to go.
Come on, this way.
But Mario knows there's some unfinished business behind this door, and they still need to save Peach. Now, listen to Luigi's exclamation in this instance.
Mario? Oh, okay.
Now he's ready to potentially face danger. He pretty much knows what's behind that door, and instead of cowering, he's embracing it. Because his brother is there with him. Mario is his hero. So seeing him ready to confront danger head on gives him that little bit of hope he needed to have some confidence. He and Mario climb the rest of the way up the tower, all the way to the roof, and they find Peach's painting. Luigi sets her free and the group embraces. The nightmare finally over. Until Luigi turns around and sees a bright purple light. Here is the man of the hour, ready to break Luigi once and for all. He let him climb all the way up the tower, knowing Mario wouldn't let them leave Peach behind. He let Luigi free her, knowing it would give him that little bit of hope that the night was over. But then he pulls the ultimate 180. He straight up pulls EGAD's ghost-proof bunker out of the garage, blows it open, and slams EGAD and the Toads into an ensemble frame, with plenty of room for the remaining guests. The trio stand in awe of the king, Luigi frozen in fear, and only he is able to get out of the way with the help of Polterpup. King Boo doesn't notice at first until he starts counting the frame's residents, and then he looks down to see his arch nemesis. King Boo is absolutely livid at this point. In his own words, he is sick to double death of Luigi. No more mercy for him. King Boo is ready to put up the greatest fight of his life, and Luigi is pretty much hopeless. His only companion and source of knowledge throughout this entire experience, Professor EGAD, has been conquered. His supposed ghost-proof bunker was just destroyed like it was a toy, and now he's trapped, just like Mario and Peach mere moments after Luigi rescued them. His hero is once again trapped, and Luigi is right back to where he was at the beginning of the game, all alone against his worst nightmare. King Boo has stripped Luigi of any hope he may have had left, and now he's ready to literally murder him. But in true Luigi fashion, he fights back. Luigi is stronger and braver than even he knows, so he fights King Boo in a seemingly unwinnable battle. But King Boo isn't ready to call it quits. He is so done with Luigi that he takes the frame and uses all of his magic to create a seemingly unwinnable scenario. He expands the painting to engulf the entire hotel, just to get rid of Luigi. That is how much he despises the green-clad plumber right now. But in the end, Luigi is still able to win, despite King Boo taking basically all hope away from him and putting him into a seemingly unwinnable scenario. Luigi was able to find his courage and win the day. He slams King Boo into the hotel roof a grand total of 9 times before he's weak enough to be sucked into the poltergust. And take a look at this. Even when he's beaten and is completely lost, he stares daggers at Luigi because he knows he'll be back. He'll be back and more vengeful than ever. This is the money shot right here, and it's one of my favorite moments from basically any Mario game. The dynamic of King Boo and Luigi should go down in the history books. It started as a second-hand rivalry that only came into being because of Luigi's association with Mario. King Boo couldn't have cared less about Luigi before and even during the events of Luigi's Mansion. He spends the whole game admiring his Mario painting because why wouldn't he? He's finally conquered the great Mario who's given him so much trouble over the years, something even Bowser could never do. So when Luigi finally reaches him, even after all he's conquered that night, King Boo doesn't really care. He's already conquered the Mario, so his weaker, more timid brother should be a cakewalk, even with his greatest fear on his back. That said, King Boo knows that Luigi poses a threat to him, so he still fights with all his might. But he still loses and gets trapped in EGAD's garage for nearly a decade. When he reappears in Dark Moon, King Boo doesn't really hold a massive grudge against Luigi. He's certainly mad that his plans were thwarted by the inferior Mario brother, but he's just that. Inferior. Why go through the trouble of taking him out when Mario and EGAD are clearly the bigger threats? Mario after troubling his people over the years, and EGAD for locking him in a painting before selling him at a garage sale. His priorities in Dark Moon are clearly in the right place. He simply didn't account for Luigi actually stepping up to the plate. Admittedly, not of his own volition, but I digress. And when he does face Luigi, he doesn't take their meeting lightly. He knows the threat Luigi now poses after stopping literally every ghost thrown at him and probably all of his boos as well. So he doesn't hold back and fights him with all his might. But in the end, he loses again, and now he's pissed. By Luigi's Mansion 3, King Boo absolutely hates Luigi, even more than Bowser hates Mario. Bowser is willing to have some comedic banter with Mario before many of their fights, because, let's be honest, he's a big softie on the inside. King Boo, though? He's ready to paint the town red and show Luigi no more mercy. But Luigi does the unthinkable. He conquers his fears and defeats King Boo, despite his incredible powers and unflinching will to absolutely destroy him. Even though this video is primarily about King Boo, I think it's only fitting to end it with a celebration of Luigi. In the end, Luigi didn't want any of this. He was perfectly content sitting on the sidelines, relaxing at home with or without Mario. He didn't need to play the hero to be satisfied in life, because his brother was always there to do it for him. He never needed to step up to the plate, nor thought he ever could, and it was ultimately King Boo that allowed him to do so. King Boo capturing Mario in Luigi's mansion was the catalyst for Luigi stepping up and becoming a hero. All the Toads in the mansion are surprised to see Luigi be the one to rescue them because they're so used to seeing Mario be their savior. But seeing Luigi step up and be the hero they need fills them with hope, and gives Luigi the drive he needs to push forward. When he goes into the well and sees Mario trapped in the painting, he now has a goal that he knows he needs to reach. At the same time, it terrifies him to no end. If the great Mario was able to be captured, what chance does the lesser Luigi stand? He knows what he has to do, but doesn't know if he has the strength to do it, which is why his victory is all the more satisfying. He conquers King Boo and does something even Mario couldn't. He's finally stepping out of the shadow and becoming the hero, but he doesn't really get the hero's welcome that his brother would get. Instead, he just gets the satisfaction that his brother is safe. In one of the most wholesome moments in Mario history, we get Mario shooting out of the machine and Luigi crying tears of joy, laughing his ass off for the first time in the entire night. He's finally able to just lay down the poltergust and rest, knowing that his brother is safe and sound at long last. He doesn't need the dramatic hero's welcome we've seen Mario get over the years. He just wanted to see his brother safe, and that's exactly what we get. And probably strangest of all through this video, that want doesn't really change as the games go on. Luigi starts Dark Moon just wanting to relax at home. He doesn't want in on Egad's adventures since it doesn't concern him. When he finishes cleaning up Gloomy Manor, he thinks he's done, and is more than ready to go home. When Egad tells him otherwise, he gets really depressed. He doesn't want to continue forward because he has no stakes in whatever's going on here. As far as he knows, his brother is perfectly safe somewhere else, and this is just Egad overreacting. It isn't until Luigi sees the train diorama and treacherous mansion and sees Mario trapped in a frame that he knows he has to persevere to save his brother again. And the story doesn't change for Luigi's Mansion 3. Luigi initially just wants to take a vacation and relax in the Last Resort Hotel. He wasn't expecting to find Egad or ghosts in this place. And when things go bad and King Boo makes it clear that all his friends are captured, he doesn't just try to escape. When he saves Egad from his painting, Egad tells Luigi that their best bet is to escape as soon as possible. Normally, Luigi would take this offer instantly. But because he knows Mario needs his help, he's willing to stay behind. When freaking Egad says it's time to run, you know things are beyond hopeless. But Luigi perseveres anyway, and fights his way up the hotel because Mario and Peach are counting on him. And even against unwinnable odds, Luigi is able to conquer the hotel, Helen Gravely, and King Boo. Luigi in his titular series is one of the greatest underdog stories of all time, and King Boo is one of the greatest villain stories of all time. Two unlikely adversaries pretty much stuck fighting each other until the end of time. Luigi doesn't want to fight, but King Boo ends up forcing his hand by endangering his brother, the one person he really cares about. And King Boo just wants to get back at Mario and rule the world in the first two games. He only cares about getting Luigi in the third. And if he didn't involve Mario in his plan, he probably would have succeeded. And all that is perfectly exemplified by the shot I mentioned earlier. Luigi absolutely doesn't want to be in this situation, but he knows that he has to be. King Boo is livid with Luigi and will absolutely be back. But not today, because Luigi ultimately wins. He will always win, because he has someone worth fighting for.